So we had waited on this analysis because we were waiting for the Supreme Court to make a final declaration, either to reverse the declaration of Jean Adukwe-Mensah or to affirm it before we could come to a conclusive report on the Ghana election 2020, and then we can make some analysis. Any analysis that we did at the time would be prejudicial to the ruling of the court, so we left it out. Now the court has ruled. We also waited for a while to see whether President Mahama will launch a review of the Supreme Court decision, as he was doing during the trial itself. We now know that President Mahama will not launch a review of the Supreme Court decision. He will not file for a review. He will not mount a review, and that the decision of the court, the court of first instance, the Supreme Court, is final. Okay, now we are delighted that we can come to the screen and, based on the data, crunch some analysis out of what happens in 2024. And we are titling this one, the pair, the competition, the pair of what we're going to get in 2024. Let's first see what happened in the presidential election results of 2020. I still feel like that night when we stood here on December 9th or 10th doing the results analysis. Okay. So this is the presidential election results, 2020 presidential election results. You can see the Ghana map. All the parts that is painted green, or the regions that is painted green, were won by John Mahama, and the regions that is painted blue were won by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So Akufo-Addo won in 7 regions in Ghana. John Mahama won in 9 regions to make 16. So John Mahama won more regions than Akufo-Addo did. So let's go to Akufo-Addo won first region. We put there central, and it's deliberate. We deliberately put that there because we're going to make a case about the NDC's relationship with the central region tonight. So the first region Akufo-Addo won, believe it or not, is Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman's home region, Central. The vice presidential candidate's home region, Central region, Akufo-Addo won it. Then Akufo-Addo won Ashanti, which is to be expected. He won it, however, lower than what he did in 2016. This time he won it by 72% of the total votes cast in Ashanti. In 2016, he won it by 76%. Eastern region, Akufo-Addo's home region, we were not surprised because we won that as well. Western region was interesting that Akufo-Addo won it. Bono region, we're not surprised. Ahafo, we're not surprised. Northeast, Akufo-Addo won it as well. Interesting mix of the regions that Akufo-Addo won. And if you look at the margins by which he won, apart from the central region, he was winning all of it by significant margins. John Mahama won in 9 regions. He won in the Volta region. That's not surprising. And we start with Volta also because tonight we're going to show a relationship between the Volta region and the NDC ticket since 1992. And we want to make a case with that one as part of the analysis so that you can draw your own conclusion. They are signaling me on time, so I'll be very quick. Please signal me on time. Oti region is won by John Mahama as well. We are not surprised about that. Savannah region is John Mahama's home region. He delivered it as well. Northern region is John Mahama's former home region before Savannah came in. He won that as well. The Upper East region he won. Upper West region he won. Bono East he won. Western North he won. Greater Accra region. That's significant. John Mahama is the first presidential candidate since 1992 to have won Greater Accra region and not won the national election. Very significant. Let's take that again. John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency the former president, is the first presidential candidate in the history of the Fourth Republic to have won the Greater Accra region in the presidential poll and not have won the national election. Okay, we depict that here in colors. So you see that all the blue places were won by Akufo-Addo, and then the green places were won by John Dramani Mahama. So if you look at the Ghana map, you see the NDC strength along the eastern border, eastern corridor, going all the way to the north. They clean up everything over there. Somehow they lose northeast, and then they clean the rest, and then it comes down. In the middle, the central part of the country, from the Bono region coming Ahafo, Ashanti, Eastern, Western, it looks like the NPP leads there. This was, however, an election that was closer than the 2008 election. Let's move on. Can you change it to the next one, and then we have a look at it. We might have to ignore the EIU one, my people, because we don't have much time. Okay. 2020 presidential elections. So we isolate the regions that Akufo-Addo won, and we list them again. Central, Ashanti, Eastern, Western, Bono, Ahafo, and Northeast. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The one that John Dramani Mahama won. So John Dramani Mahama won 9 regions: Volta, Oti, Savannah, Northern, Upper East, Upper West, Bono, Western, Greater Accra region. John Mahama won in 9 regions. Okay, let's look at the data of the parliament as well, and then let's see what happens. We're going to present to you two arguments for and against John Dramani Mahama, and they're going to show us that data in a little bit, and we will deal with it. So the data will come up soon, and I'll go and talk about it. The data of the parliamentary results. We know that the parliamentary results were different from the presidential results, and we will use the parliamentary results now to make a case. Let's go over to it now. I believe we have it. Okay. Analysis of parliamentary election outcomes. Okay, we do it from 2012, but our concern is 2016-2020. So in 2016, the number of seats won by the NPP was 169. And the number of seats won by the NDC was 106. The difference was 63. And the NPP won by occasioning a 27% swing from 2012's election. Okay. Now, in 2020, the NPP lost from 169. They came up to 137. They were losing, I believe, 32 seats, coming up to 137. Well, we put +1 there because you all know why we say +1. But they actually won 137 seats as a political party. The NDC, rising from 106, came to 137 seats as well. And the difference between the two parties is 0. The NPP, however, have the +1, so they maintain the majority in the conversation. They maintain majority in parliament. Now, let's tell you about the analysis. And I don't know whether we have John Mahama's photograph. Let's put John Mahama and Nana-Opoku-Agyeman on the screen now. They'll do it in a minute, and then I can give you the analysis of the two arguments for and in favor of John Mahama, because the whole conversation tonight is what is the NDC's potential. And this is part 1. We'll come to part 2 later on. What should John Mahama run against? Should he not? Etc. Etc. They're going to give us John Mahama and Nana-Opoku-Agyeman, the NDC ticket. Yeah, we have it. It's ready now. Thank God for mirrors, because with the mirror I can see. Okay, so this is a 2020 ticket of the NDC. John Dramani Mahama, Nana-Opoku-Agyeman. Okay, Nana-Opoku-Agyeman from the central region. The NDC lost the central region. Now, the argument in favor of John Mahama is going to be this. If you look at John Mahama in 2012 to 2016, he dropped. Okay, 2016, John Mahama garnered 47% of the total votes cast. Okay, and in 2020, John Mahama's 44, did I say 47? 44 in 2016. John Mahama's 44 became 47. Supporters of John Mahama are going to make the case, and rightly so, that if the presidential candidate is growing his percentage, then it stands to reason that if you maintain him for 2024, he just might win it. And the Economist Intelligence Unit is already predicting that the NDC is expected to win the 2024 election based on something. They say based on the 2-term swing of the Ghanaian politics since 1992, the NDC is expected to win 2024. But they put in a caveat. They say that without John Dramani Mahama. Okay, what is the point about John Dramani Mahama? That he must feature in an analysis which says the NDC is expected to win. Now, those supporting John Mahama are going to say that, look, the guy has moved from 44 to 47%. He deserves it. If you keep him as a candidate, he's going to win. In any case, who is the candidate for the NDC? Who else? Who is better sold than a former president, former vice president? He's been on the ticket for the last 5 times or so. For the last 4, is it 4? 2008 maybe? But especially 2012, 16, 23. He's been on a ticket for that long. A 6-year-old Ghanaian knows who John Dramani Mahama is. So he sold for the party. The opponents of John Mahama are rather going to make this argument, which is an interesting one. They're going to say, but wait a minute. This 2020 election was given to the NDC. For that kind of parliamentary swing to occur, for the NDC to rise from 106 to 137 and pull down the NPP from 169 to 137 and equalize with the NPP in parliament, with the NDC believing that they actually won the parliamentary elections, but for some untoward hand, you must have had a very, very bad candidate for you not to have won the presidential. If that candidate is that bad, then if you bring him again, he will not win. That's the argument they're going to make. Let's not be emotional about it. The argument for Mahama is that he moved from 44 to 47, so if you put him there, he will progress and he will make it. The argument against John Mahama is that what occasioned a defeat for a candidate whose party was doing so well at the election? In fact, whose party was not expected to do that well. The NDC was not expected to do that well. They did so well in the election in Accra. They swept everything. John Mahama controlled Accra, and he won Accra by only 75,000 ahead of Akufo-Addo. If you take a place like Central Region, John Mahama was winning 4 regions, 4 constituencies, when his political people, his MPs were winning about 13. NDC MPs win 13 seats in Central Region. John Mahama wins 4. So the reverse argument may be Akufo-Addo is such a good candidate that he was able to defeat a candidate who actually had the momentum. So the momentum may have been with John Dramani Mahama, but Akufo-Addo may have been such a good candidate that he was able to defeat John Mahama, or that John Mahama was such a bad candidate that if you present John Mahama again, he's going to be defeated again. That's the argument that's going to be made. Some are going to say that did John Mahama choose a bad running mate? I don't know. But for a running mate who came from Central Region, and we're going to talk about Central Region in a minute, for a running mate who came from Central Region, to see Nana Akufo-Addo win the Central Region ballot, that's very, very bad. So these are the arguments that are going to happen within the NDC. There's a third one that is not completely in favor of John Dramani Mahama. And the third one is as follows. It's going to say that if you elect John Dramani Mahama, who constitutionally can serve only 1 term, if he comes after an 8-year term of MPP, he's going to need 2 years to settle down. As soon as he settles down, there's 2 more years to the next election. And the NDC will have to be looking for a new candidate. But the Ghanaian people may find it difficult to elect a candidate who is coming in for 1 term. Because when he was competing with Akufo-Addo, they both have 1 term each left. Akufo-Addo goes through, he's finished. If you're bringing in John Mahama, who can only do 1 term, then there may be fatigue on the John Mahama ticket. And this will be the 4th time that John Mahama is appearing on the ballot. He appeared in 2012, he appeared in 2016, he appeared in 2020, he's appearing in 2024. By Ghanaian culture, sympathy votes would have quickly gone to John Mahama if he had never been president. If John Mahama had never been president, clearly, 2024, the sympathy votes will go with him and he'll carry it, as is expected. But here is a different kettle of fish, because here is John Dramani Mahama, who had been vice president, who had been president, and who is coming back on the ballot for the 4th time, who had failed to win a presidential election where his party was doing excessively well. What kind of quantity then is John Dramani Mahama? That's the argument. We are analysts. We don't know what the NDC will do. We're not advising the NDC what they should do. They will not even listen to our advice. But these are the raw analysis that as journalists we should be making. So we have not finished. We're now going to go further and deal with this NDC Central Region, NDC Volta Region. So this is the ticket number 1 for NDC. Now let's talk about the NDC and the Central Region in a moment. Have you realized that ever since, since the year 1992, there has been a Fanti person on every NDC ticket? The entire 4th Republican election has been run by the NDC, having a Fanti person on each single ticket. Let's go and look at that. We'll see that the NDC ticket since 1992 is going to come up on the screen a little bit, and we'll check that and show you what we mean by that. It's going to come up in a minute. Okay, it's ready now. So let's start. So this was the first ticket. This is Flight Lieutenant Rawlings and Kwesi Aka, the first NDC ticket of 1992. Fanti, Kwesi Aka. Let's go to the next one. It will shift. Can I shift it? Okay, yeah, great. All right, so this is 1996. Professor J.E.A. Mills, the learned distinguished professor, is on the ticket. So 92, Aka is the Fanti. 96, Professor Mills is on the Fanti. We're showing you that the NDC has had a Fanti. That's why we use Central Region. The NDC has had a Fanti on the ticket in every election. In the year 2000, Professor Mills is the Fanti. Martin Benskaiser Alamisi Amidu is the running mate of the NDC. Professor Mills retains the Fanti flag on the NDC ticket once again. Then we move on to 2004. Professor Mills retains a Fanti ticket on the NDC, Fanti flag on the NDC ticket again. Alhaji Mohammed Mumun, the former distinguished foreign minister, is his running mate at this time. We move on to 2008. You will see that there is Professor Mills is the Fanti person on the ticket flying the Fanti flag again. So Professor Mills unfortunately dies. John Dramani Mahama becomes president. And what happens? The continuation of flying the Fanti flag on the NDC ticket, 2012, Kwesi Emisata is on the ticket for the flying the Fanti flag. A Fanti from Central Region has been on the NDC ticket since 1992 up till 2020. We don't know what that means, but that's what the data throws at us. Okay, 2016, John Mahama repeats Kwesi Emisata, and here in 2016, NDC suffer a heavy defeat. in the central region. But Kwesi Misata from Mori at the heart of Cape Coast is on the ticket. 2020, John Mahama, after a long search for a running mate, produces Professor Jenano Opoku-Agyeman, another Fanti from Commander on the NDC ticket. But look at the reverse of it. The NDC, since Rawlings, have never had a Voltairean on the ticket. No, they never had, since Rawlings. Now, I'm saying this to give you a presentation of the next stanza, which is the final one, of the potential NDC tickets that we could have for the 2024 election. The NDC have never had a Voltairean. But the NDC have had constant supply of votes from the Volta region. Heavy. They've not always had that from Central region, even though they've always had a front. In 1992, they won Central region. 96, they won Central region. 2000, Professor Mills, they lost Central region. 2004, they lost Central region. 2008, they won Central region. 2012, they won Central. 2016, they lost Central region. 2020, they lost Central region again. So the NDC have had mixed fortunes in the Central region, but for some reason, they have always had a Fanti from Cape Coast. Not even Western region. Cape Coast, Central region. Not, there are some, well, they say that Fantini be no whole Western region. That Western region for your hunter for. I've heard that, So we can say, but when we conceptualize Fantis, Takra Day and second year sort of part of it. But they say that Fantini be you are office Western region for where Enzima for na hunter for. That's what they say. But so Central region, small Central region, has had a flag on the NDC ticket since 1992 up until now. The votes from Central region oscillates. But the votes from Volta region to the NDC is heavy, standard, assured, bullet, lock, stock, and barrel, comes down heavy, whether police go there, whether soldiers go there, whether they close the border, whether they open the border, whatever they do, Central region, Volta region will come down for the NDC, lock, stock, and barrel. So that's analysis that we can look at in the next stage. So with this, let's now look at the future of the NDC in terms of the tickets. Okay. They'll put that on in the screen, and we are looking at some of the tickets. Okay, so yes, I like this. So you know that we talked about these tickets during the 2020 election analysis. So the potential tickets of the NDC is what I'm going to talk about now. Age is not on his side for sure. Age is not on Kwesi's side. But the Kwesi Botway Haruna Iddrisu ticket for the NDC is still something that people are thinking about. And this weekend, I've been talking to some of the NDC people. I talk to them a lot. And they talk to me a lot too. Don't worry about some of the things you see on Facebook. They are the latter-day Saints people. They don't quite understand. Okay. So Kwesi Botway and Haruna Iddrisu ticket, which we talked about, which was very popular among our Facebook observers, is still on the cards. But Kwesi is a bit older. But mind you, John Mahama is the de facto. He's a de facto leader of the NDC right now. He's also the de facto presidential candidate right now. Because in terms of breadth, width, grounding, switch, heights, everything, resources, John Mahama still stands tall within the NDC context. Okay, let's move on. Nobody's alerting me on time. Okay, I put this interesting ticket as well over there. Augustus Guzitano as number 1, Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagbin as number 2. And I have to say this because our research didn't show it. And I don't know whether anybody has research to give us the information. Do you know that the speaker can run for president and still be speaker until the day of the election? Did you know that? We've checked the law. We've checked the law and checked the law. There's nothing in the law that says that a speaker who is running for president must resign. There's nothing like that. So Speaker Bagbin can continue to be speaker, go off campaign and come, go to campaign and come, remain speaker. It's like the vice president running for president. So that's an interesting one. So Speaker Bagbin can be speaker until voting day, until parliament is dissolved. There's nothing that changes that tells him that if you want to run for president, you should leave. He will not leave. He will be there. That's an interesting one. So Augustus Guzitano, let me come back to the screen. Augustus Guzitano, who used to be quite popular, I don't know his level of popularity now, and Bagbin ticket, okay. And then we have, that's him number 1, Bagbin number 2. We have Bagbin number 1 and Guzitano number 2. That's another ticket that we're looking at for the NDC. A lot of these permutations are going to happen between now and the next few years. And then we have John Mahama and Johnson Aseidu Nketiah. That's another NDC ticket. That's another potential NDC ticket for 2024. John Mahama and Johnson Aseidu Nketiah. Think about it. We're going to do this for NPP as well. John Mahama, Johnson Aseidu Nketiah, candidate and running mate. Think about it. Okay. Dr. Kwabena Dufour and Haruna Iddrisu. That's another ticket we're looking at. Dr. Kwabena Dufour and Haruna Iddrisu. So think about it. Dr. Kwabena Dufour and Mohammed Ibn Chambers. Those of you who know Mohammed Ibn Chambers, or those of you who don't know Mohammed Ibn Chambers, he's currently one of, after the death of Ambassador Kofi Annan, I think that Chambers is Ghana's foremost diplomat. He works for the United Nations. He is the United Nations head in the West Africa sub-region. I believe that he's based in Abuja or Dakar or something like that. He was member of parliament for the Bimbela constituency 1992-96, and in the year 2000, he left to be the ECOWAS executive secretary, and Dominic Nitiwo won a by-election for the NPP to take the Bimbela seat from the NDC. Mohammed Ibn Chambers was forever the Bimbela MP. And his nickname from the University of Ghana, and it's a phrase. His friends called him Chambo for president. So keep that in mind. So Mohammed Ibn Chambers and Dr. Kwabena Dufour as an NDC ticket for 2024. And then Mohammed Ibn Chambers as number one. And they return Guzi Tano again. That's another fancy on the ticket, by the way. Guzi is another fancy, by the way, from Agona. So that's Mohammed Ibn Chambers and Guzi Tano. Again, another ticket for the NDC. And this one. So you want to bring back the Rawlings factor, which has helped the NDC for many years. You want to bring back the Rawlings factor. What about this one? Haruna Iddrisu and Dr. Zanetor Rawlings, the Member of Parliament for Korle constituency, Minority Leader, and the Member of Parliament for Osu. Who is a Rawlings? Because the Rawlings tickets still probably commands a certain snowballing effect. So that's a ticket that we looked at as well, Dr. Rawlings and Haruna Iddrisu. Okay, then Alban Bagbin and Dr. Rawlings. What about that? Alban Bagbin over here and Dr. Rawlings. Another NDC ticket that we looked at, Dr. Kwabena Dufour and Dr. Rawlings. So we've also factored in the Rawlings situation, and I think that's about the last one. So that's it. We'll take a break, come back, and be able to wrap up. But this is our first presentation of the NDC. We left out the Economics Intelligence Unit because they have made their predictions. We've seen that. But this is our work in terms of our concluding remarks on the election and what happens to John Mahama going forward. This is Good Evening Ghana. I'll be right back after the break.